with guest Angel Rebo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laurie Ann. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. We would like to welcome you to our Lift Your Story podcast.
So in this episode, we're very pleased to have Angel Rebo. He is the CEO Confidant. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Laurie Ann, and thank you, Roy, for having me. And obviously, thank you, everybody listening to us today.
Oh, great. So everyone needs a confidant, right?
Well, why not? Exactly. And, speaking of expectations, right? I mean, I think that having a confidant is also about expectations. I think that we all have so many relationships with so many people, and probably we have not spoken probably enough about what we expect from others, and they haven't spoken enough with us about what they expect from us. And I think that generates a lot of confusion. So, having a confidant, someone that you can really open up yourself about your life, about your business, I think it's really important. So you just, lay back and have a very honest conversation. It's not that it's easy to open yourself. We are not, as you know, we are raised to be strong, and we have these many layers of, shield protecting us around us personally and as business people and entrepreneurs. But still, we are human beings, and at some point we need to let go. We need to surrender a little bit, don't you think?
Oh, I totally agree. And it's interesting you do this because Laurie Ann and I were involved in another group where the guy that was kind of coaching us said that everyone needs a confidant, someone they can trust to talk to, and keep that. They may not want to talk to everybody about, but they need someone that they can talk to and feel safe talking to.
Exactly. And this is also I would say this is the most important thing that you do every single day. We all obviously live because we have customers. We have someone that appreciates the value that we provide to them or to their business. And at the end of the day, I think developing a very honest, real, genuine relationship with them at the personal level, it will definitely be the foundation for anything else that we do with them. So absolutely, I agree with you totally, Roy.
Yes. So I'd like to talk to you about your foundation of helping young entrepreneurs. I mean, to me, that's really something that's, I think, is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. So our foundation is called Wisdom for Kids. I'm the president and co-founder. What we do is we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using their local resources. The reason why we created Wisdom for Kids, actually, I had a spiritual experience in 2015. It was something extremely powerful from a human perspective for me, from a human experience point of view. And I had those images of everything I had done in my life in the business world with entrepreneurs and everything, and all the poverty I had seen, because I lived personally in Latin America for 10 years. And of the 10 years I've lived here in Texas, 5 of them I was still traveling to Latin America. So there's 81 million kids that live in poverty in Latin America, 81 million. And that's data from 2012 from the UNICEF. And so there's a lot of things to do. So picture this. I was all the time working in Latin America, dealing with these massive corporations, helping them, serving them, offering them services, consulting products, etc. I was talking to the CEOs of those corporations, the C-level teams of those corporations. And every time I was going to those plants in Latin America, guess what? The surroundings of those plants were full, unfortunately, of people in need. And you know what? The kids typically are used by their parents. It's sad, but it is what it is, to sell services or to sell products. They would come to me and say, hey, would you buy some gum? Would you buy a taco? Would you buy a bottle of water? Can we keep your car safe, senor? Senor, can we help you keep your car safe while you go inside the plant? Can we keep it safe? We'll be here with our eyes, making sure we can even wash your car for you while you are inside for a few pesos, right? So I was always exposed to both the top level tier of society and of the bottom. Within 5 minutes, I would be with the most rich person in the area and with the poorest person in the area, crazy stuff. And I come from a family of teachers. My mom is a teacher, and my sister is a teacher. I have 2 nieces who are teachers, you name it. So I love to teach. I love to train. I've trained sales forces. I mean, I've trained literally hundreds of salespeople in my life. So it came all together that I wanted to give back to society. I wanted to give back to Latin America, and I wanted to give back to them in a way that I could be really impactful. And what better way to help them become entrepreneurs using their local resources without having to go somewhere else. I mean, no, but if they don't have internet, I know that most indigenous communities in Latin America, they will never have even a cellular data connection. I know that. So how can we make them entrepreneurs using the local resources? So, it's like, what is the question that we're asking ourselves? If it's possible, or how to do it? Mm-hmm. What if, or, it's what question? Tony Robbins says it very well. The quality of our life is the quality of our questions, the questions that we ask ourselves. And I think that's really powerful.
So were you able to get those corporate people you were talking to? Were they able to help you?
So I started my foundation actually when I left corporate America. So that's a great question. Okay, so what I have done is, or what we have done, is we have used their testimonials to inspire our kids. So I've even had pure English native speakers whose mother tongue is English make the effort to shoot a video in Spanish for my kids, for our kids in Latin America. It's amazing. So I use as much as I can, or we use as much as I can, these relationships to inspire those kids. Because again, when we get to those communities with those kids, what would you say is the number one thing that they need? They need self-confidence. They need self-esteem. That's the first thing. Because as anybody else in the world, right? We don't know what we don't know. The difference is that they have been exposed to so little that they know really very little. So their expectations of what they can become in their lives and what they can do with their lives are very low. Yeah. So the first thing we want to do when we deliver our workshops with them is to make sure that they understand that their potential is infinite. There's no ceiling. They are unstoppable human beings. Unstoppable, period. We are all unstoppable, right? So even, we ask all of the kids when we deliver our workshop, we ask them, what do they want to be when they grow up? Many, they don't know because they've never asked themselves. But guess what? Some people, because we go to remote areas, and some people, they say, and that's gonna surprise you, they can say, I would like to be part of a drug cartel. And you know why?
Oh.
But you know why they say that? Because those communities are supported, and the only income that they get is from these specific people. And when we hear that, we have two choices, right? Do we give them self-confidence, or do we criticize openly, or maybe even damage their dignity publicly? Obviously, we don't do the second, right? We try to be, extremely positive, but that's the reality that we live in. So when we hear that, we say, oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, why do you do that? And they see that in a positive way, because everybody in those communities is helping, these people to, to cultivate something or to harvest something. And there's this, relationship between the community and the government and the politicians and these people, and we are not there to judge. We are there to help. And something that we do, and we are very cautious as well, is that whenever we go to a community, we connect with the community leaders, but not with the mayors and with the richest people in the community. No. We connect with the people that can gather groups of kids. It's so simple. It's so simple, and we go there and we talk to these community leaders, our volunteers do, and we tell them, hey, we would like to do that. We would like to start your kids in an entrepreneurial journey. And they said, really? And how much is it? That's the first question all the time. How much is it? And we say, no, it's for free. It's for free? Why would you do that? Well, because that's what we do at Wisdom for Kids. We help underprivileged kids to become entrepreneurs using the local resources. Oh my God. Sometimes that's a funny story. Sometimes we engage with teachers from schools. Some areas have schools, or with principals. And you know what the principals tell us? You will never believe this. They tell us, oh my God, yes, we're going to do this, but guess what? We're not going to tell anybody. Because if we tell anybody, they might say no. Because we belong to this structure, to this system. They might say no. But they say, no, we're going to do it. And the reason we're going to do it is, we're going to do this. We will allow you to come here and to deliver these workshops to our community, because we know that in all the formal education that these kids are going to receive, they will never get this knowledge. They will never get this experience, ever. Nobody here in this school district will ever provide them with any entrepreneurial knowledge, even if the more basic of it. You know, so it's really, I mean, we know we're doing something really disruptive, but it is what it has to be. We have to give them hope, self-esteem that they really can become whoever they want in their lives.
That's amazing. And you know, you mentioned the drug trade and all that, and that's the only life they've ever seen, and they just, and like you say, they don't know there's anything else available. And to ask a kid what he wants to be, and then you say, well, would you like to be a teacher? You mean I could be a teacher? You know, I could do that? Sure you could, you know. I mean, I've worked with kids and things, and so I know how it feels when you do something for kids, and even if you don't see the benefit of it at the moment, and you see those kids later, and they come up to you and they'll tell you, oh, thank you so much for telling me about this, or thank you so much when you did this, it made a difference in my life, you know, and money can't compare to that.
I'm having chills as you're saying it. I'm having chills. I couldn't agree more. When we do those workshops with the kids, we jump, we dance, we play, we sing, we do all sorts of weird stuff. You know why? Because that's what kids like, and we want to connect with them. And we can, if we just leave them with a little bit of a message that it resonates with them, and they keep it with for the rest of their lives. Oh my God, those resources at this time of all of us, it's been worth it. You know, we meditate with them. 20 minutes of our workshop is a meditation. It's a meditation with the specific affirmations, very well picked, you know, using neuro-linguistic programming. I mean, we spent a couple of years just designing the workshop, a couple of years with two PhD students involved. I mean, we really did this like big time. Like, we really wanted to make a difference in those communities. And you know, the kids, I mean, what you get from a kid, the authenticity, the authentic reaction of those kids to everything that we do with them. You know, we start the journey with a 2-hour workshop, those 2 hours, and then when we go back to the community after a few months, they still remember us, and they say, yeah, you were the crazy guy that started to jump with us with a Black Eyed Peas song, with holding a speaker, which is the true story, holding a speaker in your hand and jumping. Guess what? These kids know me of anything. They don't know me. They've never seen me. After 20 seconds of me jumping in front of the audience with a speaker with this bum 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 bum, you know, song, they're with me. They're with me. They are with us. They stick with us. You know, it's amazing. That's the power of the human being. That's what kids are capable of doing.
Well, and I think that's the power of what you're doing, is the enthusiasm and the positive, and not this coming down or you need to do this. It's like, let's make this fun. And yeah, they're kids. I think that even with adults, we like it a lot better when it's fun than when it's something like, you know, you go and listen to a speaker, you know, you come out of there, you tend to find the ones that are bubbly and positive, you come out with that positive. The ones that the speech is like, you know, mundane, you come out exhausted. So, you know, adults are not too far away from being kids.
Absolutely. And you know, sometimes we try to cover so much, you know, when we go to those communities, that sometimes, I mean, we are literally like 8 hours in a row doing this. Like it's wow. But unless it was exciting, we wouldn't do it. I mean, we're drained literally, you know, drained out at the end of the day. But oh my God, what about the joy? What about the impact in these kids' lives? And I have to tell you, I mean, they change your life. I mean, I will probably tell you I'm more childish since I started to, you know, serially working with kids. And I have 3 kids, the 2 younger ones, the 12-year-old and the 10-year-old. They always tell me, Dad, why are you so corny and so cringy? You know, but you know, because I'm their dad, right? But if I was their buddy and I was doing the silly stuff and I was teaching things, it would be a completely different story, right?
Right.
It would be a completely different thing. But it is what it is. I mean, it's all about your energy. I mean, right now, us 3, we have a choice, right? we can be like, we can ask, boring questions, and we can have a list of questions, a written list of questions, and we stick to the script. No matter what the guest is going to say, we're going to stick to the script, and I am going to answer the same question the same way in all my interviews from now on. That's an option. The other option is just to be myself, and Laurie Ann is herself, and Roy is himself, and we try to make the most of this conversation together.
Exactly.
And that's it. And we are creating something which is unique. And we might be even so lucky that our audience is going to resonate with some of the messages we're putting out there. And even there might be someone who changes their lives today because, and they start their own nonprofit and they start helping kids. And, just because of this, the time of us three together will have been worth it.
You're exactly right. But I want to go back, like when you're going to these villages and your first meeting with these kids, when you start your 2 hours, the look, their demeanor then, and then after you finish, the look and demeanor of those kids, how does it change?
Well, first, they don't believe it. They're in denial, but as they're so genuine, they jump into, you don't have to ask them for permission. They just jump into the party, right? I mean, we are party crashers. Let's put it this way, right? I mean, we just go into the community with the permission of the leaders, right? Because they invite the kids to that. But initially, they don't know what's going to be about. They think it's going to be something like going to classroom or, having a lecture or going to church. They don't really know, right? But at the end, the last thing we do with them is the meditation. So it's the most magic part. And the meditation, the last 20 minutes, is actually the part where we anchor everything. So those affirmations actually anchor everything we've done in the workshop onto their subconscious. Okay, that's the goal. That's the goal of what we do. So answering your question, it's magic. The last part of the workshop is the magic part in which they get to actually listen. I mean, we have a very special music. Again, every single word that we say with them and they mentally repeat is being chosen. It's the precise word that we need to use so that everything we've done before is going to stay with them. We also give them a booklet, by the way, a printout, so they get to keep the affirmations and the songs and the dances and the games and everything. But they are, number one, more inspired. They're fired up. They don't want to stop. It's very difficult for us to leave that place. When we have different sessions back to back, it's extremely challenging for us to leave one place to go to the next. Very challenging, because the kids, they want to be with us more and more and more. Oh, it's done? We are done already? Oh, no, we want more. Because they're kids and they're having fun. And we bring, again, we're doing fun stuff. We're doing fun stuff. So that's why, when you bring kids to this high level of energy and enthusiasm, they thrive, and that's who they are, and that's who they are. It's kids are like that. And also remember, when we go to these underprivileged communities, unfortunately, most of the families are unstructured. I mean, they live in poverty, so probably some of the parents are already working somewhere else, probably miles away, or they only go back to see their kids in maybe once a month, maybe, or they were abandoned, they're foster kids. I mean, remember, it's not like us, like in the normal society. I mean, these kids go through a lot, and they probably, if they're lucky enough to go to school or have some sort of formal education, probably in the evenings or in the afternoons they go to some field to plant something or to harvest something or to collect something. This is their lives. I mean, and their houses, they live on dirt. They don't have tiles. I mean, just think about the whole environment. Everything is more complicated for them, right? So that's why for us, working on self-esteem is like the most important thing. Open their eyes so that there's other things that they can achieve in their lives.
It's funny. That's one thing in North America you really don't see. I lived in Istanbul for 4 years.
Wow.
And like you, we would be, in our apartment, and then you go across the parking way, and then there's the people, with the outhouses. They don't have, I was so pleased to have seen that, because it gave me so much more, I'm so much more grateful for what I have here, because, and we helped them out. We did what we could, and they're just so grateful. so grateful. They have so little, and yet they're so grateful for
Oh,
every
absolutely.
little tiny thing, you know?
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know, I've the only Latin places I've been is Mexico and Honduras, and you know, you go like in Mexico, you got all the big resorts and stuff, and then you go a little ways out, and you've got that, you know, like you say, the kids are trying to, hey, you know, they try to sell you stuff, and in Honduras, it was even worse in Honduras. Poverty is really bad there. I have a daughter-in-law from Honduras, so. But you know, like you say, they got a Haydot block square with tin roof over it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what dirt
That's it.
floors, no windows, openings. But I mean, it's just yeah. And you see those little kids out there. I mean, yeah, it's pretty sad. Really
yeah.
is.
I talked about the 81 million kids in Latin America in poverty. 22 million of those, 22 million don't have drinking water. They don't have drinking water. So these people that you were just describing in Honduras, probably they have to go and collect water like once a week or once every other day just to have water to drink or water to, you know, wash their hands or wash themselves. You know, this is the reality. So, I mean, that's why becoming entrepreneurs is really, it's the best way to teach them that, you know, they have an infinite potential to really start changing their community immediately.
You know, you go back and forth to the same places. I mean, like follow-up visits and all that, right?
Yeah, and we have local volunteers in those places.
So when you like, if you haven't been there in say a year or two, and you go back,
Exactly.
and you see these same kids, do they come up to you and
Yeah.
I'm sure they're glad to see you. They remember you, like you say, from your dance with the speaker or whatever. And you know, they tell you, oh, I've done this. You know, because of you, I did this, and I've got this now that I didn't have before.
Yeah, that happens, and they also show you what they have done, right? Very, you know, obviously, when we go back to the community, we want to gather them again. Things have happened. Some kids have moved out of the community. I mean, there's a lot of variables here. The number one, I mean, one of the most important things we do during the workshop is a screening, right? So we try to identify who are the kids that are more ready to do this. And then there's a second stage, because that's, as you can imagine, right? I mean, as good of a mother or of a father that we are, right? As you know, we are the number one source of limiting beliefs to our kids. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and we do it we do it with the right reason, right? We want our kids to survive, right? Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You could get hurt. You could get hurt. You could be, you know, you could be sick tomorrow if you go out with not enough clothes. Blah blah blah. You name it. How many limiting beliefs do we put into the minds of our kids? So it's the same thing with those kids, obviously. But the problem is that living in places of poverty, parents may or may not agree with an entrepreneurial journey for their kids, right? Or parents or tutors, right? Depending on of the structure of their families. So the stage number two is to talk to their tutors, no, or parents, to see if they want to support their kids, because our volunteers can do a lot of things, but what about the immediate, you know, supervisors of those kids? Will they be open to help them or not? Will they say, no, this is BS, or this is, no, this is not for me. No. I'd rather have my kid come with me at 5 a.m. in the morning to that, coffee plantation to help me with the harvesting than doing this other thing. And maybe the kid is thinking, no, I would love to use the wrong coffee beans. Maybe I could start building some sort of transformer or some sort of bracelet or something, or whatever. The kid is thinking in a different way, but the father wants. So that's where we have to also make sure that we coach and we support and we make sure that they are on the same page. I mean, I can tell you so many stories. I mean, I remember one time we gathered kids in a community, and actually, I think it's one of the, it's probably the only time that there were like 4 or 5 parents that they didn't believe what we're going to do. So they came to the session with us, right? They showed up, and they wanted to see what we were really going to do. Guess what? They came with machetes.
Oh my
They
God.
came with machetes, with them big knives. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. I mean, they could have left the machetes at home, right? They came with the machetes because they use them because they live in the jungle or in a, you know, in an indigenous community in the middle of the forest, whatever that was. But obviously, they came knowingly with their machetes, right? I'm not saying that they use them only to threaten people. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to say is that not everybody has the right frame of reference. For us, it's very common and it sounds great to teach entrepreneurship to kids. But obviously for the parents, what do these people really want to do with the kids?
Yeah, yeah.
And we are so cautious. Right now, if you came here to any other of the co-founders' filing systems, there's not one name of one kid, any place, not one picture, nothing. We are so cautious about the information that we keep about the kids. Really, because we don't want anybody to have any sort of information of the kids. I mean, we treasure that relationship. We treasure it. We are extremely cautious and sensitive about what we do with that information. So you will never be able to find any information of any kid, right? And that complicates things a little bit for us. Yes, but you know, we owe this to the kids. We want them to grow up and, you know, and thrive and try things out and experiment with their lives and with their surroundings. That's what we want the kids to do. But we don't want them to be interfered by anybody.
Have you been able to get the corporate people in your areas to like donate things?
Yes, I've had
help try to help them find jobs in their factories or whatever. You know what I mean?
So well, I have to tell you that, well, number one, obviously we've been more than 1 year without being able to go anywhere, as you probably can understand, because things are very complicated right now. But before, we focused a lot on donations from corporations here in the US. That's what we focused on, right? So our next step, as far as basically, when the people that knows Wisdom for Kids, they're either, you know, donors, they come up and to us and they donate, or they are volunteers, right? So we have these very distinct communities. As far as donations goes, obviously there's always room for improvement, and we go after. We are going to, which we haven't done. We're going to be proactively in you know, starting this year, proactively going after grants and after more sponsorship programs from large corporations. Because I have developed a relationship with all those corporations. I've served those corporations. I was the vendor for those corporations in Latin America and in here. So I have all those connections and I have all these relationships I've developed. And right now we've been asking more for testimonials and, you know, showing the inspiration to the kids than asking for money. I mean, we have had money from corporations, but we've tried more to use the time of those executives, which obviously is very valuable, obviously, because we know that this is when a kid sees if we have electricity where we go, right? Because that's another story. If we are able to show, even if it's just the screen of a laptop running on batteries, the video of a you know, large corporation CEO speaking to them, that's amazing. That's incredible. You know, that's so powerful. You know, like 3-minute video can do so much more than any amount of money, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's great work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's got to be very rewarding as well. But I mean,
thank you. It is
making an impact on somebody's life. You know, there's no money for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And you know, kids, again, that's why when we were thinking about our workshop, we said, this is not going to be about whiteboarding. No. This is going to be about engaging with the kids all the way, having the kids 2 hours doing silly stuff, as silly as we can. You know, obviously every song has a message. Every tale, every story that we tell them has a message, obviously. You know, every song, every dance, everything we do, the quizzes we do, everything in just 2 hours, everything which is packed there has a message, right? That we got to get across or to send across. But yeah, I mean, it's all about leaving a footprint.
It's interesting as we just had a guest, we were talking about music and we were saying, Roy brought this up, that songs bring you back. Like I've moved so many times, but I know where I lived in that particular spot when that song was playing. And it does bring back the memories. You go, oh yes, I remember dancing with my friends. So that's another thing that's great is using that music is going to be instilled in their mind. Whenever they hear that song, it'll come back to them.
Yeah.
Totally. It's funny how we picked that song. Well, Black Eyed Peas, they don't know that we use this song. One of these days I will have to reach out to them and ask for the permission. The music that we use for the meditation, we ask for permission, you know, to the composer, a very interesting, you know, spiritual leader in California, by the way. But every time I hear that that song at the radio, it just changes my mood, and I am already myself in the front of these kids jumping up and down. And obviously the stories, because when you go to an indigenous community, again, you know, it's dirty roads and bumps, and you get late, and then they're waiting for you, and they have prepared coffee to you, but they have prepared coffee on one of these big aluminum pots, like big massive pots, that they've poured a couple of packages of sugar along with the coffee. It's all genuine. They're trying to, I mean, they're so grateful, Laurie Ann and Roy. I mean, they're so grateful. Everything they have, they will give to you. And all, if we go to a school, for instance, all the teachers that day, they baked or cooked something for us. And, you know, we are a group that we can be maybe 5 or 6 people every time we go to a specific community, just because we try to make the most impact possible, right? So yeah, it's an amazing experience. And music, absolutely, music is magic.
So Angel, how can our listeners reach out to you?
Thank you so much. So the easier way to reach out to me, as you know, my brand is the CEO Confidant. I'm very active online. You will see me on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, everywhere. The easiest way to actually contact me directly, and either someone of my team or myself, we will answer you. That's a promise. Okay, Pinky promise to everybody. You can send me an email to Angel, ANGEL, at angelrebo.com. Rebo is spelled like R-I-B as in boy, O. So Angel at angelrebo.com. You send us an email there and we will respond to you. And obviously, if you want to know more about Wisdom for Kids, you go to wisdomforkids.today, wisdomforkids.today, and you will see a nice video there, some stories, and it will be a pleasure to bring you into the team and do great things together in Latin America.
Just a quick question before you go.
Yeah, of course.
Do you recruit volunteers for this as well?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, on our website, you can go there and you can sign up to be a volunteer. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was thinking whether or not to launch Wisdom for Kids, and I reached out to a friend and then a friend of a friend, the main question that made me like be 100% sure of doing it was, if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? Who is more prepared? Who has all those connections to the super powerful people in this community, to governments, to companies, to chambers of commerce in Latin America, the entire continent? If you don't do it, Angel, who's gonna do it? Who is gonna do it? And my answer was continuously no, nobody. Who is more prepared to do that? I mean, I can be a better or worse, you know, teacher or trainer, it doesn't matter. But who has those relationships and who can actually leverage those relationships to help all those kids? And the question was answered all the time, like, you, Angel. If not you, who? If not you, who? Right? So why not? Let's do it. And then I reached out to a friend, and then all us three, we became the co-founders of Wisdom for Kids.
Beautiful. You did it.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today, and thank you to the audience listening to us today.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and you're
Likewise.
doing awesome work. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll keep on doing it. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks again.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, Angel.
Bye-bye. Have a great
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit us at lifterstory.com.